loud. Hi, I am Stacy Knox. I am with Opportunity Knox Network, and I started this business 3 years ago. I'll tell you just a quick little story and then introduce the other people who are on here. I started it after my daughter, Riley, who is on the screen. I kept looking at her in high school and thinking, what does somebody who's incredibly extroverted and can sell me a candy bar at 2 years of age at the grocery store, at least convince me to buy her one every time. What is she going to do with her future? And the reason I care so much about this is because, you know, this is her whole future, and I want her to start out with confidence, without any doubt. Because, you know, when I was going through college, I knew I wanted to be a counselor and I knew I liked helping people, but I didn't really know exactly what that was going to look like, and I've had to figure it out. So I wanted it to be much easier for Riley, and also with how student loan debt is becoming such an issue, even much more so than when I was in school. I didn't want her to struggle, and I, as a parent, didn't want to have to worry. So I introduced Riley to Amanda Sharratt, who is also here. And I have invited the three of us to just get together for a few minutes and share our story, because Riley, of course, is someone I'm incredibly proud of, because she's working hard at school. As you can see, she's in her room at her apartment. So she is definitely a college student. This is her 3rd year, and I won't tell the whole story, Riley, but she is working hard, and Amanda and she have devised a plan to not only save money and be wise with money, but also to be educated on, when you make wise decisions now, how that just completely opens the doors for Riley's future. And again, if I could just say one more time, as a parent, it means so much launching your new adult child into the world, and not have to worry. That is such a big, important, huge thing for me, but also a huge blessing, because I'm looking at her smiling face and just so grateful for you and for Riley for being open to learning the information and just taking it by the horns and just going with it. So tell us a little bit, Riley, about who you are and how you're doing in school and how you got there.
Okay, on the spot a little.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Riley. Obviously, you've heard that. I am a junior at Kent State, and I'm majoring in marketing. And then I am also pursuing a professional sales certificate tacked onto my degree, which is a really good opportunity. It's just a couple extra classes, so that's fun. I'm involved with Delta Sigma Pi. It's a professional co-ed business fraternity on campus, and the Business Professionals Roundtable, which is a student advisory council specifically for the College of Business, which is cool because we get to report directly to the dean. I'm also on both exec boards for those organizations, so that kind of keeps me busy. I'm working at Longhorn Steakhouse right now. Definitely a temporary job. I do not want to do that for the rest of my life. Waiting table sucks, but it pays my bills. So let's see. A little background. I started working at the age of 14 as soon as the opportunity came available for me. And then kind of as of 14, 15, even going into being 16, I just kind of worked and put my money away. So that was kind of a big deal for me. I watched both of my parents be unemployed during the recession. So I kind of swore to myself that I never really wanted to be insecure with my money. So that's kind of where my savings tactics came from. And then going to college, kind of where Amanda ties in, we started meeting about financials and talking about all that. And now I'm here. I feel like now I can tie that into Amanda.
Go ahead, Amanda. Tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, yeah, so I'm Amanda Sharratt. I am a financial planner, And I used to be a financial coach. So kind of the differences in that is, as a coach, I helped people a lot with budgeting and saving money and paying off debt and those kinds of things. And I still do that, but now I'm able to help people to save and plan for retirement and college planning and all of those things. But yeah, I am really passionate about people going to school debt free or doing what they can to go to school debt free, because student loans is a really big roadblock for my generation and the upcoming generations. And so I just think that there's a way to do it without debt. But I also say, if you are there, give yourself grace. There's a way to pay it off and come out on the other side of that too. But I also think that this all ties in so well to, Stacy, what you do with the career direct assessment, because I think that that has a lot to do with finances, honestly, because so many times people are going to school and they don't really know what they want to go to school for. And so maybe they end up changing their major and spending more time and money. And if they're taking out loans for it, then it's even more money because they're paying the interest on it. And so I think what you're doing with the career direct assessment is awesome in helping people clarify what their skills and passions are, for what careers are good for them.
Thank you. And that reminds me, I don't even know if I got through the whole story of when I started this 3 years ago. It was because a friend of a friend had told me about Career Direct. And as soon as I heard about that, I thought, that's something I'm going to really encourage Riley to do. And of course, as a parent, the assessment is only as good as the person taking it wants to do it. So if you don't want to do it, then you might not get the best results. But it did seem like, Riley, you were willing to do it and interested. And I don't know if you remember back then, but I don't know if you knew what you wanted to do either. Did you?
I would say maybe like 20% of me had done career exploration, but did I have any idea? No. Did I really want to know at that point? No, because I was in high school. That was all I was really worried about. But then once I learned the importance of knowing what I want to do for the rest of my life, that was at least a start.
Yeah.
So it was a good jump start on the path to success.
Yeah. And I remember when we did that, we were sitting on our couch and it was virtual. So we were looking at somebody else talking to us from another place. But the report that we got back was 34 pages of all of this detail, which honestly was pretty overwhelming at the time. But I just knew in my gut that by the time that conversation was over, I saw a huge smile on Riley's face, to discover that, wow, being an extrovert and having this natural inclination to be, have integrity and to be promoting things that she believed in was like, wow, you could really do something in the business world. And then, as I literally within the next few days after that, I contacted Crown Financial Ministries, who developed Career Direct, and asked how I could be trained in it, because as a licensed counselor, I have always seen how people struggle. If they're not happy in their job, they can feel depressed, anxious, upset. It can lead to stress in marriages. It can lead to stress in families. Gosh, it was just one of those huge answers to, wow, so not only for teens, because that's where my passion was, to send Riley off on a good foot, but also to know how families in general, at any stage, people who are in, careers, it's not a matter of necessarily evaluating, is this the right career for me, but how can the career that you've chosen, how can you be most effective and also happy? Because when you're happy at work, you're happy at home, and when you're happy at home, you're happy at work. So wow, it's just been such a wonderful tool to be able to use with so many people for that personal development and professional career planning and all of that. So anyway, so I wanted to say too, how Riley, so you're 3 years later, and we go back and revisit that a lot, like when you're choosing internships and making plans for, okay, you're a little over a year away from finishing, which I can't believe it.
Same.
How do you feel about where you're at and where you're headed?
Well, I don't exactly have like a specific job picked out for me once I graduate, but with my internship this summer with Sherwin-Williams in sales management, I think that'll be kind of like a jump start onto the path of discovery. I know that they have a really good, I would say, exploration opportunity once you're like within the company. If you are hired, then I know that the guy I interviewed with, he said he switched jobs like 7 times over the last 5 years until he found the one that he liked. So they offer a lot of opportunity to be promoted, to move around, to do kind of whatever you want. So that's kind of where I want to start.
And just to interject, my passion is also that guy who switched jobs 7 times in 5 years. I wish I could have talked to him, because we could have taken from one job to number 7 without having to go through 2, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, but I think it was on his end, it was more of like promotional things. So just moving up.
Yeah. So Amanda, tell us a little bit about, why are you so passionate about all of this with, knowing your career field and how that relates to finances and what you're passionate about?
Yeah, so I think, I'll share, I took the career direct assessment as well. And I think that, everything you were talking about, it applies to finances, because if you're stressed in your job, but you feel like you can't leave your job or get a new job because you're tight in your finances, that all plays into it, right? And so I think you can see that connection there. And so that's why I'm passionate about having people take it. But as you said, it applies to families in general. So for me, it was a couple things. Professionally, it helped me understand how I need to structure my schedule and what kind of schedule I need, or what I need to. I'm an extrovert, and so it's good that I'm meeting with people, and how do I plan that in my days? And then even just in my personal life with my marriage, of my husband and I both took it, and just planning for okay, you're naturally skilled in that, so you should do that, and this kind of stresses you out, so I'll do that. And kind of aligning that, I think, is just really good. We all think we know ourselves, but I think there's some things that we just don't understand about ourselves or understand about the loved ones around us. And I think this was just clarifies that so much of who we are and how we function day to day.
Yeah. So Riley, what kind of words of wisdom would you have for either high schoolers and or parents of high schoolers as to looking back and looking currently? Like, what would you tell them?
Don't blow your money.
Okay.
Because you're going to do it. It sounds dumb, and even though I saved a lot of money, I blew a lot of money. So going into college, you're rich. Like, you're very rich as a high schooler. It sounds dumb, but it's true, and you'll learn that. But yeah, when you get into college and you have very minimal time to work, whereas in high school you can work a couple days a week, I only work maybe 3 days a week. And I mean, for now, I pretty much live paycheck to paycheck. So I'm able to save a little bit of money, which is really good. But my best advice for somebody in high school going into college, do some exploration, know what you want to do. At least you can go into school and at least have a major, because you don't have to get into your specialty classes until sophomore, junior, senior year, but it's better to know sooner than later. So don't put it off. High school doesn't last forever as much as you might think it will. 4 years goes by fast, and 4 years of college goes by even quicker. So, and the other thing I will say too is, if you have the choice of spending your own money that you have versus taking out a loan, spend your money, because you're going to end up paying more back later than if you just pay the ticket price, which I don't think a lot of people understand how much things accumulate. So
Great advice, Riley.
There's one proud mom sitting right here.
Yeah. I'm not her mom, but I'm proud too.
Financial mom.
That's right.
And Amanda, I hope you're comfortable sharing that your husband accumulated a lot of debt when he was in
Yes.
college. And
Oh yeah, I'm very comfortable sharing that. So that's our story, and is really how we got started. And became so passionate about helping people with this. Is my husband went to a private out-of-state engineering school, and so as you can imagine, very expensive, and took out student loans for all of it, just because I mean we're starting to be more aware as a society, I think, about student loans, but especially when we're in our 30s. And so when we were going to college, that was just the expected thing. It was like, you take out student loans, at least for a lot of people. And so we kind of he got out of college, we were very newly married, and we had a wake-up call of, wow, we have a lot of debt. And so we paid off $140,000 in 3.5 years, and are so grateful that we did, and we never looked back. But that's why I'm so passionate about helping people, and especially teens as they're going into college, because that's why I'm so proud of Riley, because I'm like, if you can graduate without debt, how much further you are set up for success than if you have to spend those years paying that back. And so again, I know if you're listening to this and you already have debt, don't beat yourself up. It happens, but just make a plan to get it paid off, because you'll be so grateful that you did.
Riley, you're nodding, and I saw your face of, yeah, I'm glad I don't have $140,000 in debt. And yes, I mean, people do, and you're right, it's not the end of the world, and people like Amanda can definitely help to guide families so that, even if you're in college, or even if I know plenty of people who've been working 10, 15 years and have a lot of student loan debt and are trying to figure out how life all goes together. So that is definitely, it's not a deal breaker, but you definitely can make more and have more fun when you are using your natural skills to the best of your ability. So even when you're interviewing for a job, whether it's a promotion or a new job, or thinking of making a switch, investing in some personal and professional development and being aware of what makes you tick. People are going to see that in you, and they're going to want to pay you for that because you value it and they value it. Whew.
Agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So Riley, looking forward for anybody else, what would you tell them as far as what is it like day to day being a student, being aware now of wise financial management? How do you do it?
Yeah, so I'm going to bring the app into this. So my mom found this app, and it's called the Every Dollar app. So basically what you do is you put your income in, and then you set a budget for yourself every month, and you do categories. So basically just keeping track of income, keeping track of budgeting. You don't need Starbucks every day to survive. It's not life or death. Day to day, I would say the things that I try to be conscious of are little things like eating at home, or if I do want a cup of coffee, there's a cafe that sells coffee for $1 versus a $5 or $6 Starbucks coffee. The big thing is eating at home, walking to class. I know gas really doesn't add up when you're in college because you're not really going very far. Like I drive to and from work. Otherwise, it's just kind of around town. The other thing I do is I limit myself to working on the weekends, so I can still attend events during the week, and so I can focus on my studies and getting to the gym and stuff. So it's really just time management, budgeting, and being self-aware. Like, learn your habits, learn what's bad, learn what you can change. And I think the motto of everything in moderation is even still that you can apply it wherever you want to. So I guess that's my 2 cents. Use what you have. You don't always need new either. Like all the furniture in my apartment was given to me, and it was fantastic because I didn't have to pay for it. I don't know, just a random example.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, Riley, what you said at time management, do you think that working, even though it's part-time, do you think that working has helped you be better with your time management?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because it forces me to I mean, I do this anyway, but I write things down in my planner, but it forces me to look ahead and say, oh, well, this is due on Saturday night, but I have to work Friday and all day Saturday. So I'm going to do it on Thursday night instead of doing it at the last minute. So
that's good. That's a lot of times parents are worried about their kids working in school. Like, well, I feel bad for them to working, but I mean, studies do show exactly what you're saying is that kids honestly will get better grades in school if they're working even part-time hours because they learn those valuable time management skills. And then, you know, a lot of that can go on your resume when you're going into school too, because even though you're working as a server, there's skills that you're building that can go on your resume for when you get out of school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I definitely think there is a fine line of working too much and overworking yourself. I don't really think any college student should work more than 20 hours, which I usually put that in a weekend, if not a little more. And it's a lot. It's a lot of like stress on your weekends, but it also is good. You have that paycheck, and it's a very small price to pay for not owing like 30 grand to the government when you graduate. So it's very small.
Yes.
And as the mom sitting here, I'm grateful that Riley has a job that where she gets tips. So there are creative ways to save money and earn money, especially if you're in a situation where you have a minimum wage job. So, you know, I've heard from some parents that, you know, having roommates or sharing expenses in that way, or even going to a community college the first year or two and transferring credits in, or, you know, being accepted at a state school but going to a regional campus, the classes are cheaper there. So there's all kinds of little ideas that way that can make a huge difference. And I guess I just want to say too that Riley has made it seem easy and smiling and sweet, but I know her well enough to know that it's also hard. It's hard being a college student. It's probably worrisome. And I can tell you that it's worrisome as a parent of, is she eating? Does she have enough money for dinner? I mean, you know, what if a car repair comes up? I mean, all of those things. So as our kids are learning to be independent and wanting so much to be independent, even a career direct, because we have the student and the parents sitting at the same table, actually this table right here. But the really neat thing about it is that it bridges communication between your child that is becoming an adult and leaving home and making their own decisions. Yet as parents, we want to know they're okay. We want to know that their decision making, you know, is informed, meaning how are we going to decide what your major is? And I throw the we in there because we're supportive, but ultimately it's them and it's their life and it's their future. And being part of that consultation, really you get to see your child in a whole new way of, oh, that's why you do what you do. I want to be able to encourage you and not crush your spirit at all. And also not to worry as we are not under the same roof anymore, and that I've done my job and I can celebrate with you rather than worry. That's a big one. It's hard to let them go. But it's,
Yeah.
and that was always the goal, but it is hard. So yeah, what were you gonna say, Amanda?
Yeah, no, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but my daughter is young, and so I don't have a perspective that way, but I just, in talking with people, it's like, there is that balance though, I think, of your kid is now an adult, they're 18 and they can make their own decisions, but I think it's so important for parents to help guide them, because it's like, oh, I don't want to force them to work, or I don't want, but it's like, yes, it's hard, and I know it's really hard, and Riley's working really hard, but it's like, it's either hard now or hard later, because you're going to graduate and have all that debt, or, you know, and so I think it's just a decision of, you know, where do you want it to be hard, or what kind of balance can you have there? And so I think it's good. And I think that your kids will thank you for, they may not when they're 18 or 19, but later in life, they will thank you for helping them and guiding them and not allowing them to make a, you know, possibly poor decision. So I think so many times it's just as parents, they feel that they can't tell their kids what to do. But I think like what you're saying is come together, learn how to communicate together, learn what the kids' skills are and all of that. And then just be there to continue to guide them.
And for anybody watching this, if you have any other questions or want to contact me, my email is Stacy, S-T-A-C-Y, at opportunityknoxnetwork.com. And my website is Opportunity Knox, K-N-O-X, network.com. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks, Riley, and thanks, Amanda.
Thank you. Bye.